Welcome back, my friends. Another exciting day in Empires and Puzzles has brought us a brand new portal, and it is the Astral Demon Portal. Well, I guess it's just the Astral Portal, right? But right now, we're featuring our demons, and of course, this does bring us a brand new demon in this weird, furry demon guy named Carthizux? Carthizux? Yeah, absolutely. He's got like sort of like a dog collar going on and like this like chain leash. I'm not sure exactly what this guy's deal is, but he is a funky looking demon. And I have to say, I'm not in love with the art, but you know what? That's fine. We'll move on with life. So, first things first, he is going to be the rogue class, which gives him that chance to dodge, which is pretty fun. A reminder of what we get for the Astral Demons family bonus. Now, this is important because it changed recently. It's going to be a bonus for 1 or 2 heroes. This character gains +3, 6% mana when taking special skill damage. This effect can activate only once per turn. And then also there is a 60-85% chance to cleanse 1 status ailment from all allies when receiving special skill damage. Okay, so basically they swapped out his full self cleanse for cleansing 1 ailment from your entire team, which more or less makes it just like the Beowulf family bonus, but I guess maybe they figured it was really popular. Let's just roll with it. There we have it. So there's our family bonus. Now, down here in the passives department, these demons have probably some of the best passives in the game, so let's get into it. First one is Hinder Mana. This reduces the amount of mana increased by special skills, passive skills, family bonuses, and status effects by -80%. This effect applies to all enemies in the battle. So he does slow down their mana generation quite a bit, which is very helpful at times. Then we also get resist negative mana effects. This character is immune to mana reductions as well as status ailments and negative stacks that affect mana generation. Applies to effects and status ailments that block or steal mana. So, there was a time in which this guy was avoiding most mana effects, but was still getting hit by the mana reductions. As you can see, they added a separate line in here saying this character is immune to mana reductions to ensure that he got that full protection all the way around the board. And it is very cool not to be able to mess with your character's mana. I think that's super powerful. All right. Down here, we got one more hiding in there, and it's perfect accuracy. This character's special skill never misses its targets, and that's a pretty normal effect for the Astral Portal. I think all the families, the elves and the dwarves, and now the demons, they all have that. So, pretty cool. Over here in the Aether Power department, we do get Rage. Rage is basically just attack up wrapped in a different cover. You get +15% at the beginning of the battle for the first 6 turns, and then each time you are hit, you get 1 additional percent added to it to a max of 25% attack. Now, this isn't really my favorite thing because honestly, I'm not trying to get hit at the beginning of a battle. So, like, I'd rather just have the flat 20% attack up Aether Power, but whatever, it's still cool. We move on. All right, down here in our specials department, we get Astral Madness Unleashed, operating at fast speed. All right, well, first of all, fast speed's nice, right? Like, there's a very good chance you're going to get that off. And as a rogue, it would make sense that he's doing some fast damage. I like that for rogues. It says deals 400% damage to the target, has a 75% chance for additional hits. The additional hits on random enemies up to 4 times. Okay, so I guess my question is, how does that work? 75% chance for additional hits on random enemies up to 4 times. So I'm assuming that means that each time it attacks, it does a check at 75%. If it succeeds, it does another hit for minor damage. Then it will do another check at 75%. If that succeeds, it will do a hit for minor damage, and then another up to a possible 4 times. If for whatever reason it stops doing another hit, I'm guessing that stops the chain. So if the first hit goes off and then it does that 75% check and you fail immediately, I'm guessing you don't get any of the follow-up hits. But at 75% chance, you should be guaranteed, well, not guaranteed, but you should likely get at least 2 additional hits out of this guy and up to a maximum of 4. Okay. Then it says, hit enemies receive Resonate for 3 turns. Each turn, Resonate will deal 366 damage to the afflicted enemies and 183 damage to nearby enemies. The caster steals 20% of generated mana from hit enemies over 3 turns. This effect gets removed if the caster is defeated. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff going on here. What do I have to say about this guy? I think he is probably the debuff king. So let's get into this. everything that he does here is going to be functioned and focused around the idea of these additional hits and landing his effects. Each target that's hit by him, although they might be taking minor damage from these additional hits, they will receive the resonance for 3 turns, which is a nice dot damage tick that also hits nearby. But they also steal, or he also steals 20% of generated mana from hit enemies over 3 turns. So this guy is going to possibly hit quite a few. Let's just say on average he's hitting 3 targets. He's going to be stealing mana from 3 people on the board and powering himself back up and then casting again. I do think this guy's attack will start functioning at machine gun level at this point. He's just going to, well, maybe machine gun isn't the right word. Let's just say like rapid fire shotgun, right? Because this guy is literally acting like a shotgun, just spraying his attacks across the battlefield and seeing who they land on. You don't really have accuracy, right? You can't control it, but you're firing out and you're blasting. And I don't know if any of you are familiar with shotguns, but they do devastating amount of damage to targets in front of you. It's a brutal way to attack your opponents. It's a very similar setup here. This guy is an absolutely brutal way to just sort of attack your opponents and cause havoc. Where is this guy going to run into a problem? Well, he is very debuff centered with all of these effects. So if you have characters like tunes or glass that are reflecting things, or things to that extent that can resist this type of effect or send it back or change it, I think this guy's going to lose a lot of his luster because his real damage exists entirely in these additional debuffs, whether it be the resonate damage, which is going to be ticking off, or the stealing the additional mana, slowing them down, and speeding your guy up again. He just requires a team that's not very resistant to be fully effective. So that's what I would warn you about. Like, if I got this guy and I was using him in an offensive team, I would specifically look for the teams that did not carry a lot of debuff protection. Like think about a Durlafleur's buff that goes off and gives debuff immunity to the whole team, right? If you fired this guy at a team that has debuff immunity from Durlafleur, from Thalessa, from, I don't know, you name it. There's at least probably 15 heroes out there that give debuff immunity these days. Like, this guy's just going to not be very effective. Like, he's going to hit a single target. He's going to do some minor damage with his additional hits, but with none of his debuffs actually landing, this guy's going to go from like a very good hero to a very basic hero, like hero of the month level. He has to land his debuffs to be effective. So I will repeat that again just to make sure I'm entirely clear with this. He has to land his debuffs to be effective. So make sure when using this guy on offense that you are very careful in how you approach that. Now, that being said, I don't think this hero is going to be a monster on defense because in reality, again, they would most likely plan to avoid all of his debuffs and sort of reduce his effectiveness. So I think he's very easy to avoid being a menace on defense. So just keep that in mind. He would be a really nice attacking hero against the right team. So where do I rate this guy overall? I'm going to give him an 8. Like, he's a solid 8. I don't love how his entire package comes together, but because he's an Astral Demon with such an amazing passives package, and if you do utilize him well, he's going to be a monster for your attack teams. He deserves an 8. Like, just be careful how you use the guy. That's all. So grats if you pull him. I appreciate you tuning in, and we will see you next time, everyone.